Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Boxiest, and today we're going to continue the What If series. What if events had gone differently? And in this What If, we're going to change the history of Cobra Kai. What if Kenny quit karate during the events of Cobra Kai Season 6? So in this timeline, the events of Cobra Kai Season 6 would still happen. The Seikai Taikai would still be revealed to take place in Barcelona. So Daniel and Johnny will still have to pick 6 fighters to compete in the Seikai Taikai, and they will still have a hard time deciding on who would go. So much like in the original timeline, Daniel will still bring in Mike Barnes, and Mike will still do a series of challenges to determine the top students, and those challenges would carry on. Mike will still choose his top 4, and Mike will still have to decide the remaining 2 spots on Miyamoto's team. Those events would continue, and much like in the original timeline, Johnny would still go talk to Mike, and those events would stay the same. And the next day, Mike will still say that the last 4 were too close to call, so Mike will still want the remaining 4 to race, so the challenge would begin. And Devin would still put laxatives in Kenny's water, so Kenny would still be out, so Devin would get a flag, and she would make the team. Dimitri and Hawk would still fight over the last flag, and much like in the original timeline, Dimitri will still take advantage of Hawk, and he will still get the last flag, so Dimitri would be the final member on the Miyamoto team, and those events would carry on. Season 6 would continue. Tori's mom would still pass away. Johnny and Daniel would still want Miguel and Robbie to compete for captain, so Miguel and Robbie would still fight. Robbie would still be balanced in this timeline, and he would still defeat Miguel, so Robbie would still be the boys' captain. Sam and Tori would still fight, and Tori would still be fighting with anger. Amanda and Daniel would still stop the fight, and much like in the original timeline, Tori would still quit Miyagi-Do, and she would still leave. So in this timeline, Sam would be the girls' Miyagi-Do captain, and Daniel and Johnny would choose Hawk to take Tori's place. Those events would continue. Miyagi-Do would still make it to the Seikai Taikai, and they would be surprised to see Grace and Cobra Kai there, and they would be heartbroken to see Tori and Cobra Kai. The Seikai Taikai would continue. Robbie would still want to talk to Tori, but Tori still wouldn't want to talk to the Miyagi-Dos. Kwon would still be challenging the other dojos to a kicking competition, and Robbie would still accept Kwon's challenge. So those events would stay the same. Eventually the Captain's War Challenge would begin. Miyagi-Do would be on defense, and they would still be doing Protect the Egg, but Tori and Kwon would still want to go after the Miyagi-Dos. Kwon would still go after Robbie, and Robbie and Kwon would still fight. Devin and Dimitri would still go down. Robbie would still be distracted by Tori, so Kwon would still take Robbie down, and Miyagi-Do would be out, so only the Cobra Kais and the Iron Dragons would remain. The rest of the Iron Dragons would still walk off, and Zara and Axel will be left to fight the Cobra Kais. Zara and Axel will still take down Kwon and Tori, so the Iron Dragons would win. The Seikai Taikai would continue. Miyagi-Do would still have to knock the other dojo off the platform, but Miyagi-Do wouldn't do so well. Miyagi-Do would still have to fight out Dublin Thunder. Robbie and Sam will still start off, and they would fight their opponents, but Robbie would still be distracted by Tori, so he would still be knocked off. So Devin would join Sam on the platform. Devin and Sam would still fight their opponents. The fight would continue, and Sam would still be knocked off. So Hawk would join Devin, and much like in the original timeline, Devin would still sacrifice herself to save Hawk. So Dimitri would join Hawk on the platform. Hawk and Dimitri would still fight their opponents, and Dimitri would still knock Hawk off the platform, and he would also be knocked off. Miguel would finish the fight, so Miyagi-Do would win, and much like in the original timeline, Carmen would still be rushed to the hospital, and Johnny and Miguel would have to leave, so Johnny would call for Kenny to take Miguel's place. The Miyagi-Do students would still go explore Barcelona, and they would still be at the tapas bar. This is when the Cobra Kais would show up, and Sam would still go outside to get some air. Kwon would still want to mess with Robbie, so Kwon and Robbie would start to have a rivalry. Zara would notice the connection between Tori and Robbie, and she would still want to mess with Tori, so those events would stay the same. Sam would still be walking down the beach, and she would still run into Axel. She would still compliment Axel on his kata, and the interaction between Sam and Axel would stay the same. And meanwhile in the States, Amanda would still try to convince Kenny to go to Barcelona, but Kenny still wouldn't want to go, and Kenny would still think that Anthony put laxatives in his water. So in this timeline, Kenny wouldn't want to continue with karate, and he wouldn't want to join Miyagi-Do. So Devin would stay in Miyagi-Do in this timeline, and those events would continue. Eventually Miguel and Johnny would come back to Barcelona, so the Seikai Taikai would continue. Miyagi-Do would still fight Furia de Pantera. Dimitri would still start off, and he still wouldn't be doing so well. So in this timeline, Dimitri would tag in Hawk. Hawk would continue the fight, and he would get a point, and Hawk would tag in Sam. Sam would continue fighting, and she would still get a point, so Sam would tag in Devin. Devin would continue fighting, but Furia de Pantera would get a point on on Devin, so Devin would tag in Miguel, and Miguel would get the final point, so Miauto would beat Furia de Pantera 3-1 in this timeline. And during the next team match, Miauto would fight Redentores, Miguel would start off, and he would tag in Hawk, and Hawk would land the first point, and he would tag in Dimitri. Dimitri would continue the fight, and he would get the second point, and eventually he would tag in Robbie. Robbie would continue to fight, and he would get the final point, so Miauto beat Redentores in this timeline, and they would still advance in their matches. So Miauto and Cobra Kai wouldn't face off, the Saikai Taikai would continue, Cobra Kai would still fight Tiger Strike, but in this timeline, Cobra Kai would be focused, and they would beat Tiger Strike, so both Miauto and Cobra Kai would make it to the semifinals. Season 6 would continue, the semifinals would begin, Quan and Diego would still fight, but Quan would still defeat him, Zara and Maria would fight, but Zara would still defeat Maria, Axel would still fight Robbie in the semifinals, and that fight would stay the same. Axel would still knock Robbie back, and Quan would still hit Robbie. Miguel would still be mad, and he would go confront Quan, but Axel would knock Miguel back, so Miguel and Axel would want to fight. Gunther would see that the Saikai Taikai was getting out of hand, and he would want everyone off the mats, but this is when Sensei Ivanov would knock Gunther out, and the brawl would still happen. Miguel would be angry, and he would fight Axel, but Axel would be able to knock Miguel back. Miguel would try using his defense, but Axel would get through it. The brawl would continue, and the season was still in the same way. Quan would still want to stab Axel, but Axel would sweep Quan's leg, and Quan would still land on the knife, so Quan would still be stabbed in this timeline, and everyone would be shocked. And that is where I'm gonna end this what if. Thank you guys for watching. What do you guys think would have happened if Kenny quit karate during the events of Cobra Kai Season 6? Let me know in the comments below. YouTube lets me know that the majority of you are not subscribed, so if you guys could subscribe, that would be much appreciated. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. And I'll see you guys next time.